Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the stream. Welcome. Today, guys, we've been sent a brand new game that gets released today, which is the 22nd of February 2023. It's called Twice Reborn, a vampire visual novel, brought to me today by the amazing people at Eastasiasoft, Eastasiasoft.com. Jericho, welcome to the stream. Builders, man, I'm pumped to see you on the range. Vampire Rumsky builders. That's right, I'm going to suck your blood. Once again, guys, this game is brought to me today by the amazing people at Eastasiasoft, Eastasiasoft.com. Let me tell you what the game's about. But before even that, if you're watching me live, yes, L-I-V-E, live, right now on my Twitch channel, please feel free to hit the heart icon and drop me a follow. I really do appreciate you all. But if you're watching this visual novel back, watching it, yes, after all my beautiful reading I'm going to do to you, if you like it, please like my video and subscribe to my channel. It is free, F-R-E-E, and takes 1 second, one click of your time to subscribe. So you want to say thank you for reading this book or visual novel to you and playing all the other new release games that all my sponsors are sending me. Please subscribe to my channel, help my channel grow. I really do appreciate you all. Come visit me over on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. That's Marbrolay, M-A-R-B-R-O-L-A-Y. Okay, Twice Reborn, a vampire visual novel. Embrace vampirism or defend humanity. If you crossed a vampire, you would protect humanity or embrace the blood. Blood. In Twice Reborn, teaching assistant Mark, Delaware, becomes a newly tuned vampire in a community forced to hide in plain sight. His mentor, he's got 5 mentors. His mentor, Mitchelson, has trusted Mark to become the enforcer, a feared abitor who keeps the quilling vampiric houses following the code. When Arson kills key vampires in the computer, it is up to Mark to either embrace the vampirism or find a way to regain his humanity. Interacting with humans and vampires is a delicate balance. Not all appreciate Mark's decision and not all relationships can last. Some want him dead, while others want him for their own. Mark's responses in the pluralistic community changes their reactions as well as the story's outcome. Okay, so the game features follow the horror-themed tale of teaching assistant turned vampire. Make key decisions and dialogue choices that directly impact the development. Explore a narrative that spans a script of over 95,000 words and 20 possible endings. Meet more than 30 voice characters, unlock CGR and extra gallery as you progress. This game, guys, is available on the PS4, the PS5, the Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, and the beautiful Nintendo Switch. Today, I am playing on the PS5 using, I think it's called a Nova Pink DualSense controller, 3D Pulse headset. I do apologize if my mic is crackling. Long story. Sony has stuffed up their firmware on the PlayStation, which makes the mics crackle. If you don't believe me, you're probably just not streaming or hearing yourself back, but it's a true story. Trust me, it's all over Reddit, everywhere. And that's it. I'm playing on the PlayStation 5. As I said, this game's released today, the 22nd of February, 2023. It's an adventure visual novel. Subtitles in English, Spanish, Russian, Korean, simplified Chinese. Developer is First Step Cinematics and Ratalaika Games, ratalaikagames.com. Publisher, Eastasiasoft, eastasiasoft.com. Builder says, okay, he needs 4 more, or he's dead. Once again, Builders and Jericho, thank you for popping by the stream. Let's get into it right now. Let's check out the options. As we said before, I had to lower the music volume because it was blaring. Okay. Extras will just be that later on. We'll go and check that out after we quit, because then we unlock some CGI gallery and stuff like that. Okay, let's get my beautiful voice going. New Year's Eve, 1999.
We're closing.
Okay, so it's got some voiceover, which is awesome. Okay, watch it. A teenager quickly stepped aside, walked directly to the aisle she wanted, grabbed an action film and placed a DVD in front of the clerk.
That'll be $3.49.
Builder says he's dead. His mentors aren't there. 5 mentors. Damon stood behind the counter of the video rental store and waited for his 53rd customer that day to count her change. She smacked her gum. He squinted his black eyes when she didn't place the money on the counter. Shaking her head, her large hooped earrings jangled.
It's getting expensive here.
Builder says, wow, he can count knowledge. Damon sighed and looked at the clock. 30 more minutes until his shift ended.
We have the VHS version. It's cheaper.
I'm sure. If I wanted a VHS, I would have gotten one, pendejo.
What the hell's pendejo mean? Rolling her eyes, she paid and swiped the rental from the counter before striding away. Finally, he was alone. 30 minutes until the next millennium. Maybe if he was lucky, Y2K, the blackout from all the computers, would shut down the damn place based on how the news was reporting. Everyone expected it. It was always the same work of stacking shelves and checking out customers. He missed when he had time just for himself. Sorry, guys. Builders is talking. Finally, he was alone to get back to Twitter. We're all talking about the cowboy, ain't we? The cowboy spanking his dolphin to M Cup girls on Twitter. This was the this was one of the few businesses in the town open late, so they always had the misfits, the stranglers, and the late night date crowds. But the rest of the small town was quiet. He couldn't care less. His life wasn't going to change in 15 minutes. Nothing new happened in this town. It was 3 years ago since he graduated high school, and he still had the same job. Pressing play on his CD player, he flipped open a guitar magazine he kept next to the register. His mind wandered. The door chimed and a tall man walked in. Damon recognized him as a sight, another loner like him. Ricky came to town months ago. Damon sometimes joined this wandering of the cigarette after work because he had nothing better to do. Even that night, Ricky wore an outfit that looked like he stepped from the Greaser movie. I was going to say, he looks like Grease Lightning. Go Grease Lightning, the border, but I don't know how it goes. Got the tune going though. Damon never understood his obsession with vintage looks. Ricky was a little odd, but so was he.
What's up? Happy Millennium. Are you gonna watch the fireworks?
Nah, I'm heading out. It's time for me to be leaving. Happy 2000, man.
He's got a funny voice. Damon's stomach sank. Ricky was planning to move on to the next place. Had been talking about it for days.
Where are you going?
I'm skipping this Loserville. Wanted to stop and say goodbye.
I get it. Call me when you get to the next stop.
A grin stretched Ricky's face.
Don't worry. I'll make sure to keep in touch. Life's too short to stay in one place. There's a fresh 1,000 years waiting out there. Gotta experience it. I know. Let's do something to celebrate. No one's gonna come in this late. It's good timing.
I can't go smoke if that's what you're thinking. Shift's almost up, and I have a date with Chenchu.
I couldn't pronounce it. That name, so thank God he said it. Zenju.
I was thinking of getting something to eat.
But the only place that's open tonight is the Chinese restaurant on Main Street.
Builder says Ricky has 7 bookshelves. 7 bookshelves with 2,000 first edition novels. First edition because it contains more knowledge. Ricky usually I don't give a shit grin was gone as he walked up to the counter. Damon felt a chill.
Who wants Chinese? I have something extra fresh in mind.
Okay, so he might be a vampire, eh?
Wait, what?
Sharp teeth broke Damon's flesh. Oh! His body slammed into the cabinet. Damon punched Ricky aside as he pulled back from the second punch. His arm was grabbed by Ricky. Fingers bruised. Damon on his arms were forced to his side. Ricky bit again. Arrgh.
Let go, you freak! What are you?
Ricky's eyes shone in the eerie night. He pulled away from Damon. His crimson-stained lips frowned at a ghost twist. Smile and his bittery laugh.
Freak. No, man. You'll understand soon.
Ricky's breath reeked of copper. Damon winced as we dropped to the floor with a thud. Ricky laughed as he left the video store. He saw words echoing in Damon's mind.
To the new millennium.
He's a vampire, but he's got a weird voice. He kind of sounds like Leisure Suit Larry. Grease Lightning with Leisure Suit Larry's voice. 3, count 'em, hours later. Following New Orleans Blues danced on the video store's monitors as another time zone celebrated Y2K. A newscaster proudly boasted the massive computer crash that was expected hadn't happened anywhere in the world. People celebrated the new day and danced in the streets, but it was quiet in the video and games to go. The door swung open. The cute teen wearing a short. Did I say short? Yes, I did. A short skirt entered the store. Oh, she's
Damien?
not... Okay.
Sweetie, where are you? You were late picking me up.
I didn't expect her like that. She's wearing a short skirt, but she's pretty covered up. Builder says, hey, baby, play with my balls. Okay, Builders. You're lucky this is kind of not like a PG stream, buddy. After a glance at the counter, she knew that no one was there. Shenshu, I think that's how it was pronounced, became distracted and his eyes scanned the colourful rows of neat shelves movie boxes. Browsing a section, she picked up a film title from the shelf before returning it. It was too quiet. As much as Damon hated his job, he would never leave the lights on and an entrance unlocked. He better have forgotten about their date. Okay, so we got a choice, guys. 1 or 2. Builder says, after all your boober streams, it's no longer PG in here. True. Okay, if you're watching me live right now on my Twitch channel, all you have to do is type in 1 or 2, whichever choice you want me to do. Number 1 is Shizhu walks around, or maybe 2, maybe he's listening to music again. So either 1 or 2, first in, first gets. Builder says 1, so we'll go 1. Actually, I don't even know which one is 1 anymore because... Okay, there. She walked between the shelves looking down the aisles as her boyfriend. She crossed empty spaces after empty spaces. Yeah, I know that it was a top one, you idiot, but when I did the top one, the bottom one highlighted, which I was confused. It was a weird situation. When I did the bottom one, the top one highlighted, and I went, "Oh, what do I do?" So I don't know which one was which. Anyway, we got one in the end. She walked towards the register. Damon's magazine, his CD player, was out on the counter, but he was nowhere nearby. As a metallic sense teased the air, her shoes squished down on the carpet. With a frown, she looked down. Large spots of blood stained the carpet around her toes. She screamed. Can you hear the heartbeat now? The pulse? Tiptoeing through the blood, she stepped around the counter and prayed her boyfriend wasn't dead.
Damien!
No one was there. Her heart pounded. What if her attacker was still inside? She ran to the front of the store. She reached for the doors. But they were locked from the other side, Resident Evil style. She pulled against them, pounded her fists against the glass. I'm just reenacting it right now. I'm getting involved.
Somebody!
Her hands shook as she pulled out a flip-open keypad cell phone to call 911. Builder says, "Oh, good, we have answer now." A calm voice came from behind her.
I'm right here.
2 arms grabbed her from behind. Shenzhou dropped her phone on the floor. A sharp pain came as she felt her life fading away. Twice Reborn. 2010. Builder says, we've got a live one. TA, tits and ass. Sorry, guys. TA, Mark Delaware ran past a no standing on the grass sign as he bypassed sprinklers, leapt over a hedge and landed in a patch of freshly dug dirt. He muttered as he ran with his collared shirt half tucked up and half brushed, and his hair half brushed. Mark tore a bite from a bagel before stuffing it in his mouth. The bells of St. George's University echoed and Mark cursed. Picking up his pace, he waved to the groundsman as he turned a corner and nearly crashed into one of the Catholic Eastasiasoft blue-robed monks. I was going to say, he looks like a monk. He shook his head quite disapprovingly.
Sorry, Brother Luke. I'll see you later in French.
Builder says, yeah, pop your collar, you fucking poser. Mark held up his hand in apology, sidestepped him and entered into the history building. I have a tendency of replacing words from now and then, guys, so I apologise. With a strong stride, he approached the double doors of the auditorium. He paused. Behind those heavy doors was Professor Mitchelson's ancient civilization class, filled with 500 underclassmen, and a glance of his watch told him he was 10 minutes late. He finished chewing his bite of the bagel, took a deep breath, and opened the door. Professor Stephen Mickelson looked up from the lecture and narrowed his eyes on the teaching assistant. Without missing a beat of his lesson, his blooming voice continued about the achievements of ancient Roman housing. Mark didn't miss the look. He drew covered canvas shoes squeaked as he slunk low in one of his empty aisle seats. He knew he was going to get a lecture after class of punctuality. A sweet voice whispered at his side.
You're late again.
Jodie Phelps was auditing Professor Mitchelson's class this semester. Whenever the professor talking admittedly about her past, she intently listened. She leaned forward and furiously typed notes on her laptop. Her varied expressions about what Mark found charming. She opened a new window on her laptop. With its touch screen, she began to doodle. Mark wondered what could be up to. She tossed her blonde hair over her shoulder, and she pounded to concentration. Mark's eyes followed her movements and started to look at a pale pink sweater. She was so focused she didn't even notice his gaze. Jody slid the screen towards Mark. He had a slap over his mouth to keep him bursting out laughter in the middle of the class. There, on the screen, was a caricature of a professor as a dragon with fire coming out of his mouth. A small Mark was getting hit by the flames.
I wouldn't lose. A knight always defeats the dragon.
Jody rolled her eyes. Mark squirmed in his seat. As he did so, felt the cold squish of mud between his toes. Behind him was a trail of mud footprints down the carpet of his seat. Jody followed the gaze. Her mouth popped open in surprise.
Mark, ever heard of wiping your feet?
Mark turned his attention to the professor and wondered if he had also seen the mess. However, the professor was completely involved in his story. In his hushed auditorium, students were drawn to him, eyes and ears locked to his every word and expression. Despite Professor Mickelson's nerdy look of his tweed jackets and bow ties, he wasn't an awkward man. His words evoked an unexpected powerful charisma. He drove the tales of ancient Rome of the Middle Ages, and he knew what it was once like to live in them. Because he made class fun, he packed classroom students like had no matter how much he challenged them. Professor Mickelson was one of the most respected instructors at the university. There were rumors about his professional age, that he could be teaching at St. George's for 20 years. However, the academic looked to the late 30s. His brown brush back hair, his moments of white. His keen eyes never missed a student out of place. Mark reached over Jody's laptop and pulled up a new screen. Jody looked up to the surprise. He wrote, "Want to go out?"
Yeah, sounds good.
Mark typed Friday lunch at Dive's Diner. Jody nodded yes. Mark beamed. Okay, so we've got a choice, guys. First gets it. 1 or 2, that's what we have to do. So obviously when you get the grey one, when it goes greyish, that's when we go choice, and then we go down. So it's, at the moment, it's highlighted blue, means we're not on the one. Okay, so number 1 is Mark thinks she might be a good girlfriend. Could be. Or number 2, although Mark didn't want to admit it, he was serious about her. So what do you reckon? 1 or 2? First gets it. All you have to do, guys, is type in 1 or 2 in the live chat right now. Okay. He was serious about her. I don't know which one I'd choose. Okay, we're going with number 1. Mark thinks she might be a good girlfriend.
That concludes our section on ancient Roman housing. Make sure you read the readings. Oh, and Mr. Mark Delaware, I will speak with you after class.
Students' heckle came from somewhere in the hall as Mark sunk down in his seat. It was not good for the teacher's assistant to be one called in to the front. Mark knew the professor's lectures almost by heart, but maybe he should have at least acted more like he was forced of his mentor. Jody gave a big smile and winked to Mark before skipping out the door. Sure. Sorry guys, just got an itchy foot. Needs to be scratched. Sure, she didn't have to listen to Mickelson. Mark reactively waved goodbye, then wiggled through the mass of students, making their way out of the auditorium. Professor Mickelson gave short answers to the small line of them who lingered behind. A few of them no to Mark. Desperate to make an A, then asked 1,000 questions to try to beg for extra credit, a tactic that never worked. Others in line were the ladies who had a crush on the professor. Mark had heard them say that Mickelson was mysterious, hot and sexy. Why would they be so interested in a man that spent his days reading in a basement office? After 10 minutes of answering questions, Professor Mickelson finally shuffled his students out of the doorway. Mark wondered if he would get a shot at the lecture this time. He cleared his throat to get Mickelson's attention.
Yes, sir?
Professor Mickelson paused before answering.
Mark, 4 years ago, you were the only freshman out of 5 students who got an A in my largest class. By some miracle, you're still on the dean's list. Yet your timeliness has not improved since the day you enrolled.
With a slow shake of his head, he made his way around the lecture pulpit, and off to the platform. Mark stepped through the process, but realized he better keep his mouth shut. I think it's pupil. Pupil, not pupit. It's silent T, pupil. Adjusting his patched backpack over his shoulders, the TA followed Mickelson's continued speaking.
Come with me. We must speak. I know you don't have class with Brother Luke today until 10, so we should have some time.
You expect we'll need that long?
Mickelson only replied with a frown. Mark quickly nodded. Brother Luke taught him French in the mornings. Along with French, Mark also quick to also pick up Russian and Greek, languages fed his soul, and he would spend hours getting lost in this study. There was a reason why history fascinated Mark. He would love to be able to read primarily sourced documents if they were meant to be read. Okay, Mark had to admit it, he was a little bit of a nerd. Looking at his watch to double check with what the professor had said, we saw there was plenty of time to speak with the Professor Mickelson and still grab a coffee before his brother's class. As they left the auditorium, Mark saw the damage his covered sneakers left behind. A galaxy of dirt footprints decorated the polished wooden floor. He closed his eyes and hoped Professor Mickelson didn't see the evidence. The older man did and gave Mark a knowing smile. Instead of crossing the muck and walking through the crucifix-topped main doors, the professor led them way out the side passage. It was a perfect North Colorado day. The skies were clear, and it was a constant 60 degrees Fahrenheit. The beautiful campus was quite far from dodging traffic and lost tourists. A guitarist plucked the artistic strings as he sat on the blanket beneath one of the main stone statues placed around the campus. Many stone statues, sorry. Mickelson's kept to the side as he avoided stepping on the students stretching themselves over the sidewalks and sleeping on the pile of shaded grass. A few broke campus rules and smoked on the lawn. The grassy scent overpowered the fresh air. Mark coughed and picked up his pace. The professor frowned as the students had continued to lead the way. They slowly went across like a train. That was good. Once again, guys, this game is brought to me today by the amazing people at Eastasiasoft. Eastasiasoft.com. Check them out. It's just been released today, the 22nd of February 2023. Visual novel, Twice Reborn, a vampire's visual novel. Nintendo Switch, PS4, PS5, which I'm playing on today. And all Xbox consoles, Xbox One, Series S, and Series X. A few buildings later, they arrived at Mickelson's office. Unlike the other facility with Tencha, Mickelson never took an office with large window. His cramped office was in the basement of the faculty building and had a small window near the ceiling with a thick short curtain that blocked out the sunlight. So he's a vampire too, I'm guessing. Despite it's actually maybe not because he was out in the daylight, wasn't he? Maybe. Yeah. Maybe he's a vampire, but he was in the daylight. No, maybe he's like Blade. Like half vampire, half knight, so he's a daywalker. Despite the basement's location, his office was elegant, evidence of an older building's architecture. The room was framed by a floor-length bookshelves, which held the knowledge of centuries. An antique lamp sat on the small table in the corner of the room. Mickelson turned on the small lamp, crossed the wooden floors, and sat behind his desk while Mark took a seat across from him. Mark smoothed his collared shirt, ran his hands through his deceivish hair, and shifted uneasy, accidentally bumping the desk. A file fluttered towards the floor. Before Mark could react, their mentor shot his hand out and snatched the file mid-air before touching the ground. The professor returned the file on the desk.
How are the students in your study session? Is everything going all right? What are they asking the most?
He leaned back in his chair and peeked his hands together in the front of him.
They're doing well. A quarter doesn't show, but I don't blame them. It's not like attendance is required.
They should show and attend to their grades.
It'd be nice if they did a lot more of this voiceover. I know it's like a bit of I think I'm reading about probably 70% and the rest is 30%. Maybe 65, 35, I'm not too sure. Mark ignored the quip.
There were some questions about the ancient Roman trade routes from the last lecture.
Yes, I wasn't able to go over that very well. We ran out of time.
Okay, builders.
I was able to explain it.
They understood.
I hope so. They didn't ask me any other questions after class.
My turn, sorry guys. I was going to sleep. Professor Mickelson nodded. After a moment, he began to flip through his stack of campus mail piled on the top of his desk.
You're graduating this semester. Are you ready?
He knew the professor was talking about something besides graduation. The professor wanted Mark to start a career under the guidance of most powerful art patrons in the city. They sponsored orchestras, talented painters and actors. They'd been looking for a translator and Mark had been recommended. If he was accepted, he would participate in the negotiations. Mark pierced his lips. On one hand, the influential group would open the doors for many opportunities. On the other hand, they were sedative.
I want you to meet the Society of the Arts before you walk. We will meet this Friday at 5 o'clock.
So soon? I thought we'd meet after graduation. I have a date with Jody this Friday.
Bill is calling Mark Billabosh. Mickelson stopped start again. Blah, 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 blah. Mickelson stopped looking at the mail and shot Mark an adoring stare. Curt words came next.
Cancel it.
His expression softened with a smile.
I mean, you're not in love with her, right? You told me yourself that she was just a friend. This is your future. I made sure that the whole society was going to be at this meeting. And not everyone consistently arrives to their functions, as you showed us well this morning.
Hey, Tiger Wolf, welcome. Welcome. Thanks for popping by, buddy. How you doing today? How you doing? Oops. Pressed the wrong button. I guess status is circle. Mark's cheeks rendered. Okay, so one or two, guys. Number one, Mark accepts the job interview, or two, no thanks, I'll find work elsewhere. I'm going good, buddy. Thank you for the lurk. Much appreciated. So if you're watching me live right now, guys, you can type in one for Mark accepts the job interview, or two, no thanks, I'll find work elsewhere. First in, first gets it. While you guys are doing that, I'm just going to quickly go and get a drink. I won't be a second. Okay, guys, I'm back. I've got some quality H2O. Okay, so Tiger Wolf says one, also Joker says one. Tiger Wolf got it first, so it's one it is. Mark accepts the job interview.
Okay, fine.
Just fine. Once you meet these people, your life will change forever. You're great with languages, Mark. You've successfully taken 3 of them here. This is not an easy college to succeed in. And you've made it.
Thanks, Professor. I really appreciate the opportunity. I'll reschedule my date.
I figured you would. Now, get going. Go outside and enjoy some sunshine before your next class.
Slapping Mark in the back, he sent him from his office. As Mark turned the corner to leave, he noticed the professor's smile vanished. His eyes turned sad as he watched Mark leave. Through the midnight campus as a sophomore students walked towards her dorms with her biology book tucked under her arm. It was half moon and the flickering streetlights shone wavy, dim lights. The campus was quiet. Only students holed up in the library would be out so late. She cursed at herself for being stupid. She hung out at her boyfriend's dorm room, studying until the residence assistant kicked her out. The campus buses didn't make their rounds past 10 o'clock, and her jerk of a boyfriend didn't bother to walk her back, making a pathetic excuse about morning classes. She unusually didn't mind the historical buildings and beautiful bending trees. However, at night, their large shapes cast deep shadows blanketing the campus. She glanced at the occasional dim yellow light in the building's entryways. Her footsteps echoed as her shoes clicked against the sidewalk. Oh crap, it scared the crap out of me. A twig snapped behind her. That didn't sound like a twig. She gasped, turning around. Her eyes darted towards the noise. A cat ran into the bushes. Kendra laughed at herself. Oh, punk. As she turned around, she walked into a man with a green mohawk. He grabbed her arms as she stammered.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there.
That's okay with me. A little fear gets the blood pumping faster.
He tightened his grip. As his expressions changed to something tingled in malice, a cruel smile slowly spread across his face. She opened her mouth to scream, slapping his freezing hands on her mouth. Her scream turned to a muffled squeak, dragging her into the shadows. He threw her down to the ground. She couldn't see him well, but she felt him punch at her neck. Harsh. Sounds like he just took a bite of an apple. Blood dripping on her chest, Kendra panicked. Pushing him away, she tried to run away. He shot out of his arm, grabbing her wrist and pulling her towards him. Weakened, she slumbered as he began to suck her neck.
Do you recognize me, little mouse? A bird told us that you were spilling secrets about the skulls. I don't mind people having fun in our club, but what happens there stays there.
The young woman froze in disbelief. Her hope quickly fizzled from the hope to shock that resignation. The co-ed knew she wouldn't survive. Sweat pooled on Mark's brow as he changed out of his drenched judo robes. His legs were starting to cramp and Mark was ready for a break. While he wasn't on the team, he enjoyed working out with the group. However, the day wasn't done. A stack of term papers was waiting to be graded back in his room. He planned to start them after a power nap. Reaching for his dorm room doorknob, Mark's hand pulled away covered in a sticky, gooey mess. Clinging as he sniffed his fingers. Hair paste. It could have been worse. He checked. Hair paste. It's like toothpaste, I guess. Maybe it's like a gel or mousse. It could have been worse. He checked the door across the hall. The same. A pair of twins which shared the room next door to Mark had a knack for being pranksters. They would tie doorknobs together, set water balloon traps in the restrooms, plaster the halls with faces and friends of bodies of female models. Sounds good. St. Augustus' door was placed that had clean-up duty of any pranks, but that didn't stop the brothers. Mark wondered what they were doing. It was weird that they didn't see them for a few days. If anything, it was a miracle he had to avoid them at all, but he was still considered them his friends. Night passes and Mark sat awake grading papers. Raccoon cycles coloured his lowered eyelids. He needed sleep. No, he had to stay awake. He listened to noises in the hallway. Mark's dorm, I can't pronounce that word. Anyway, was crowded. Dorm life was busy, as all-guy dorm in the middle of the private Catholic St. George's University. The rules inside were strict as a monastery. No women, no drinks allowed, but the dorm members still managed to have some fun between studying, whoever actually did study. A calculus caused nervous breakdown had forced Mark's former neat freak roommate to move out 3 weeks ago. He left a note saying, "I can't do this shit anymore. Good luck, buddy," on his empty bed pillow. This left Mark the only guy on this floor to have his own room. At first, he thought it would be great to have a dorm room for himself. Peace and quiet. Yeah, right. His neighbours made up the lack of roomie. No word from Still, Mark thought to himself he had stopped by the resident assistant's office as he walked to the neighbourhood's were. 3 days had passed since Kyle and his twin brother Nate, the twin kings of trouble, had come home. Mark welcomed the peace, but quiet wasn't always a good sign. The red digital lights on his alarm clock showed the early morning when Mark finally finished grading. His head nodded and his eyelids dropped. Finally, he was closed his eyes and let sleep take away his dreams of Jody. A body slammed against the other side of the wall, followed by cursing, shouting, and stomping. His neighbours Nate and Kyle were home. Mark kicked the 1950s-style concrete wall that separated the rooms.
Glad you jerks are back, but I need to sleep!
Kyle's voice hollowed back.
Sorry, Mark.
The apology didn't last long. Kyle started singing off tune, probably to annoy Nate. The twins were always bickering. Mark figured it was because the brothers were so close. Despite their butting heads, they insisted on living together. Mark once asked Kyle why, and Kyle answered, because I don't want to learn another person's habits. The two of them reminded Mark of a grumpy old couple. Mark sighed and tried to slink to his bed. Sink? It's not the word sink, it's slink though. His alarm radio snapped on. So much for any rest. A news report of a murdered student came to the campus station. Mark tuned the volume louder. No way, he muttered to himself as he heard grisly details of the woman's death. The murderer had not been caught. Mark dragged himself to the sink and washed his face. He hoped that Jodie was watching out for herself. This had not been the first murder on campus. The last one was a few months ago. The sorority girl body was badly slashed. Sliding off his Levi's, Mark half-buttoned a collared shirt, gave a few random brushes to his hair, and quickly gargled. He stuffed the grated essays into his duffel bag and slammed the door to his empty room. Essays. What did I say? Essays. Sorry. I just realised what I said. The loud bang finally made Nate and Kyle stop arguing. The twins were waiting for him on the other side of the door. Kyle grinned as he stepped in front of Mark, blocking his escape. Kyle stepped into Mark's room, a grumpy Nate on his heels.
You mad, Mark?
He started at Mark's pale face etched with deep, dark circles.
What do you think? You're still doing this stuff before morning. Remember Monday when you stole all the toilet paper from the restrooms? We had none all week because you also TP'd the head RA's office. But you weren't here this week, so I guess you didn't know that.
And what about last month? That stink bomb in the air vent was pretty good.
And extra smelly.
It was awful. It was in my nostrils and my clothes. No wonder Jody stayed away. Where have you been? It's been 3 days since you both called anyone. We were worried. Never mind. I haven't slept. I swear, if Jody refuses to go out with me because I look like a zombie, I'll come back here and eat your brains!
Don't bother. Kyle doesn't have any.
Nate chuckled and Kyle gave him a quick punch in his arm. Nate shuffled. There were red punches on his wrist. Okay, so we've got a choice, guys. 1 or 2. What happened there? Or number 2, it's none of Mark's business. What do you reckon? First in, first gets it. We'll be ending the stream very shortly, and then we're moving on to Mark's mini indie game review. So first in, first gets it. Number 1, what happened there? Or number 2, it's none of Mark's business. Okay, 1 it is. What happened there?
What happened there?
Nate slid his tennis scuff down his head, the marks of his wrist. His eyes eyed Mark to make sure he didn't notice his move.
Just a scratch.
It looks bad. Maybe you should have it checked out.
The RA said you've been asking where we were. Are you worried about us? Don't be. We're just having some fun.
So what were you up to?
Nate and I thought you were too busy with graduation. You're working for that hard ass, right?
Yeah, I still work for Professor Mickelson.
Okay, 9, 2 or 3, I admire him. 2, he's just someone who's giving me work. Or 3, I can't stand him, he's too controlling. 1, 2 or 3, first in, first gets it. Okay, it's 2.
He's just someone who's giving me work. Did you hear about the murder last night?
Kyle and Nate gave each other a nervous glance.
No. What did you hear?
Let's hope they're caught. Do they have any leads?
Another girl was slashed. Police are wondering if we have a serial killer.
Nate shivered.
Let's get out of here. We all need a change. I know. Let's go on a road trip during spring break. Get away from cranky professors and all this death talk.
Sounds like a plan. I'll be off then.
Yeah, I have nothing better to do with my life anyway.
That was Nate's version of it. Enthusiastic, yes. Okay. Let's save it up, guys. There we go. And we're going back. And back to title. Yes, and now we're going to look at the options, extras real quick, and have a look what we've unlocked. So the extra, no endings ever finished the game, of course. Okay, extra music. We've got all this music we can listen to. Things like that. You got all this kind of like things you've unlocked as you play it. Gallery. Okay, so I've unlocked one picture of a gallery. This one. That's it. Basically, we've only been playing the game for almost an hour, so. And there's the credits. Oops. Let's just scroll down to all the credits so people can see what they are. Man, there's a lot of it. If you're watching me live right now on my Twitch channel, please feel free to give me a follow. I really do appreciate it. If you're watching this visual novel, Twice Reborn, the Vampire's visual novel, back on my YouTube channel was a video replay. Like it and subscribe, guys. It is free, FREE, and takes 1 second, one click of your time. I really do appreciate you all. Help my channel grow. I really do appreciate it. It's the best way of saying thank you for streaming this game and all the other games is just subscribing to my channel. Come visit me over on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. That's Marbrolay, MARBROLAY. Hope to see you all there. Now it's time for Marbrolay's mini indie game review, which is my little review I do. What I thought of the game. The story-wise, it's vampires. So vampires are cool. If you like visual novels, guys, you're going to love this one. It's got a really good storyline. The visualization of it is really, really good art. I really liked how the characters were. I liked how the backgrounds were drawn. Everything about it was really cool. Soundtrack in the background. It's got some great soundtracks, and also you can unlock them so you can go to the extras and listen to them back also. That's a nice touch. The game itself, the gameplay, well, being a visual novel, guys, all you really need to do is press one button and then read. It's got voiceover, so really you're probably doing about 65 to 70% reading and the rest of it's 30% voiceover, which is a nice touch. I'd like to see a little bit more voiceover, like a 50%, even more. So you got, basically, if you just read your character and all the other characters had a voiceover, that would be excellent for me. But there's a lot of visual novels we played that had no voiceovers. So you get what you're given, and you take it like a grain of salt. You go, thank you very much for a voiceover. So overall, guys, it's a visual novel, so it plays perfectly. There's nothing wrong with it. It's got a good soundtrack, good storyline, good visualization, good unlocks, 20 different endings, 95,000 different words. Builders, see you soon. Great game. Thank you, Builders, for tuning in, buddy. Twice Reborn, a vampire's visual novel is going to get an 8 out of 10 from me. It's a good one. So if you're into visual novels, guys, this was a good one to pick up. If you're not into visual novels, well, stay away. Simple as that. I'd like to thank Eastasiasoft for sending me this game. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Ratalaika Games, for developing the game. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're watching me live right now on my Twitch channel, I really do appreciate everyone for popping past. Make sure you take care of yourselves and ones you love. Don't forget to feed your pets. If you've got a dog, say hi to your dog for me. Hey, how you going, fella? And remember, guys, you're perfect just the way you are. Unless you want to change, then change. Just be you, do you, and you'll be fine. Until next time, everyone, this has been Eastasiasoft Presents Twice Reborn, a vampire's visual novel. Thank you for watching, and bye for now. Ta-ta.